How I manifested over $150,000. No clickbait, just real, honest manifesting. A lot of manifesting requires boring action to be taken. This stuff also takes time. And I know, a lot of videos and coaches will promise you that your deepest desires will come instantly to you. Your SP is literally going to text you in the next 30 seconds, I guarantee it. But has that actually worked for you? Have you had repeated success manifesting big things or even small things in these tiny time frames? I would bet not. And a lot of that stuff is just fluff and marketing to get you to click. And the worst thing is you go and try it. It doesn't work. You feel like it's your fault. Everyone else is succeeding in the world but me. Why is it not working? Why am I failing? Well, the answer is none of that's actually true. It takes more time and effort than most are willing to tell you. And I manifested over 150,000, but in 18 months. 18 months, not an overnight success, but steady effort towards the goal, and manifesting made things go faster and opened up opportunities that I then had to seize with action. Now, you have to understand my past situation to understand how I got to the 150 and to know that you can do this too, no matter where you start from. My past situation was simple. I didn't know where my money was going, but I felt like I was spending a lot more each month than I was making. There was always too much month left at the end of the money. I was in a lot of debt from taking care of a sick family member and spending too much, to be fair. Had a bunch of credit cards, had no idea of interest rates, balances, none of it. I was maybe making minimum payments on some of them with my eyes closed, and I couldn't stomach facing any of it. Well, I eventually got fed up with that life. I was tired of being broke. I was tired of running out of money all the time. And I was tired of being stressed about money and letting it control me in my emotional state. So right then and there, I made the decision that I was going to become wealthy and abundant no matter what it took. And that's step one, making the decision, making the commitment that no matter what, you will achieve this result in your reality. As little-known manifesting teacher Emile Coué says, your state of mind must be, I desire to do or have a thing, and I am about to do or to have it. It really starts as simple as that. Remember, this took me 1.5 years. Manifesting works wonders, but it's going to take a lot longer than you think for those bigger things to come in. Step 2, awareness. After making the decision, I started being intuitively guided towards the next steps. This intuitive guidance is usually what you're going to get from your manifesting work. I was guided to start figuring out where the money was coming and going every single month and how much debt I was in totality, getting awareness of this entire money landscape. So I decided to start tracking where every dollar went each month. I created a spreadsheet with categories for all my usual expenses, things like fast food, gas, groceries, each different bill, etc. And I do that process still to this day, and it's the main way that you will get control of your finances and start saving and investing money. You don't have to make a spreadsheet. It just worked best for me. There's plenty of apps that you can download that will link up to your bank account and make it easy for you to categorize expenses. Just make sure that the app is reputable and safe. The second half of awareness was getting a handle on my debt. This meant logging into every credit card website, which I have been avoiding like the plague for years, to find out the balances, the minimum payments, and the interest rates. I created another spreadsheet to track all of this information, including how long it would take me to pay off each card, doing only the minimum. Spoiler alert, that's like 30 years, and it was not a good look for me. So just paying a little bit more each month will drastically reduce the time. I then quickly realized I was spending way more than I was making and still using credit cards for some of the bills. What? Oh my God. And that I was over $100,000 in debt. Keep in mind, I have no mortgage, I rent. That was just my car and a dozen or so credit cards. We got some problems here. This led to a mini dark night of the soul and me in the fetal position for days, thinking my life was over. Step 3, planning. After 3 days of sobbing on the floor uncontrollably, I stood up and decided to take action. More manifesting that you know and love begins here. Each manifesting step then intuitively led me to the concrete actions I needed to take, and we will continue to explore those actions in this step-by-step plan for getting your finances under control and putting you on the path to wealth. I started with identity shifting. This is one of the most powerful manifesting principles in general, but also for generating wealth and creating any major lasting change in your life. It's about becoming a new version of yourself where feeling abundant and wealthy, having lots of money, is natural, just like breathing is natural. It's also about knowing that via the mirror principle, your external reality will begin to match your internal reality and your new identity. I began feeling wealthy, and yes, it is playing pretend at first, but eventually that new personality wires and settles in. I studied and researched wealthy people. What did they think, feel, and believe about reality? How did they get to where they were, and what actions can I mimic to get the same results? I changed my vocabulary to remove words like broke and poor, and I added more abundant, positive, and wealthy language. I used to stress and fret all the time about every extra dollar spent. Spend too much at the grocery store and I'd be all pissy about it and end up stressing my wife out too. When bills would come in, I'd get frustrated and afraid, and I decided to stop doing those things. I realized that it was counterproductive. I decided to know that I was abundant and not worry so much when the usual expenses came in. Now, big warning, big disclaimer. This does not mean that you're allowed to just go out and spend money willy-nilly, make it rain because you're busy pretending that you're wealthy. I tried that technique for 2 years before this, and that's partially how I got into all this debt in the first place. So that strategy don't work very well. The universe only gives you money when you prove to be a good manager and steward of money. I visualized my bank account balance every day, in my mind specifically being $990,000. I used Neville Goddard's Sats, doing the visualization as I fell asleep at night. I did a lot of guided meditation and visualization during the day for feeling wealthy, abundant, and free, getting rid of that poverty mindset. And I kept myself in those states, knowing that I would attract what I was vibrationally aligned with. The more time I spent in the vibration of abundance, wealth, and ease, the more that started to show up in my life. I did more manifesting techniques later on, and we'll cover those. Step 4, taking action. I've been talking about it the whole time. After I started manifesting, what came was those intuitive downloads of the actions I needed to take, along with opportunities to seize. And that's the secret of manifesting. It shows you the path of action to what you want to have, or do, or be. And yeah, some things do just happen only with the manifesting, like finding a great parking spot, getting good traffic lights, someone giving you money out of the blue, a phone call or a letter or something. All that stuff can happen too, but in my 10 years of trying this stuff, I usually find that you have to take action to bring it into 3D reality. And I'm gonna share those action steps with you now. First, I had to get my expenses under control. I had to look at where every dollar was going, like we talked about, and I had to start cutting back on unnecessary things first. That's like fast food, desserts, and alcohol, stuff like that. Then I had to create a budget, lots of budgets actually, for routine expenses like groceries and just cutting out other stuff completely. Second, I had to know how much money was needed for our normal monthly bills and expenses. I would take that calculation and it would leave me how much money I had left to actually spend each month. And then I decided to take that leftover amount and save and invest a portion of it at the beginning of the month so we didn't just inadvertently spend it throughout the month. Unfortunately, at this point in the story, I wasn't making enough money that I had any extra to save or invest. But I'll show you how we fix that later coming up. Now, third, I started researching what people do that have lots of credit card debt, and I debated bankruptcy. I studied and consulted from experts in the field, and I found that the best course of action was to engage a non-profit, that's a key word, credit card counseling company, ACCC. We also set up with them a 3-year plan so that all of the debt would be paid off in 3 years. We ended up spending only a little bit more than the normal minimum payments, and this was due to the reduced interest rates. This process was magical and directly came from manifesting. That's how I found the company in the first place. It was out of the blue. And I couldn't afford these payments at the time. I didn't tell them that, but I had a few months to figure it out, and I trusted the universe, and I trusted that we would get it figured out when the time came. Now, fourth, I realized I had to increase my income, right? You can only control your expenses so much, especially if you're broke. And I learned that really wealthy people will focus most of their energy on increasing their income and preserving their wealth more than decreasing their expenses. Now, I own and operate an IT business. Now wait, I'm the only employee, so it's more like I'm an IT consultant, less a business, I suppose. And that could be a whole nother video. Let me know if you want me to make that video down below. How to manifest a business, getting started. Spoiler alert, I ate a lot of rice and beans every day and used credit cards for bills for 2 years. Wasn't a pretty process, but got the business started. Those were rough times, but we made it through. And just this January, I passed 10 years of operating this business. So it works, it's just hard. Anyway, I needed to increase my business income. Now, I've done marketing and sales in the past to grow my company, so I needed to get more aggressive about that and double down on both the action and the money spent in that area. Well, I spent the next 3 months aggressively marketing and selling my services, spending what little money we had to do it. And I got absolutely nowhere. It was terrible. Nobody responded to any of my nice flyers and letters. And how could that be? I was intuitively called by the universe to do it with my manifesting techniques. It should have worked. I was pretty disappointed for a hot minute there. Well, remember, and I reminded myself too, the universe rewards me for taking action, for stepping up and showing it that I mean business. And that's what I did with the marketing. But the universe rewarded me in a different way than I thought. And no, not one single company responded to all the money I spent on sales and marketing to thousands of businesses in my area. However, I didn't let that stop me. I kept my vibration high. Don't let failure set you back. It normally just means there's another door and another path being opened for you elsewhere. And indeed there was, once I passed that test of the universe. Right after that, in the following 3 months, I had 4 new clients that were referred to me via word of mouth. Not a single one from marketing. And no clients had come in that year up until I started taking this action and started doing the marketing. Then the universe rewarded me, but in September of the year. I spent months and months of work and planning and analyzing, and the manifesting finally started paying off. I got 2 new clients in September, 1 in October, 1 in November. And so you understand how this works in my business today has only 21 clients, and I'm incredibly abundant. But so back then, getting 4 additional clients was mind-blowing and life-changing. It was like a gift from heaven. And that gift allowed me to follow through on my new debt payment plan, allowed me to start saving, and more importantly, to start socking away taxes for my tax bill, because I had absolutely zero saved for that year. So you got to take action to show the universe that you mean business. You take 1 step, the universe will then take 10 steps towards you. Wait, 1 step, 10 steps, yeah. If you take radical action towards your goals, the universe will meet you more than halfway most of the time. So that was the end of 2022. Things were finally heading in the right direction, but I was still nowhere near the goal and the big number that you saw in that thumbnail. And that leads us to step 5, the long game. With my debt on a 3-year plan, with my expenses finally brought down and income increased, I could now move on to building wealth. So over the next year or so, I continued to focus on increasing income. I spent most of my days visualizing and shifting my identity to feel abundant every single day, along with the 3D work of handling these new clients, because it takes time to get them kind of onboarded into our system and stable. Anyway, that led to more inspired action. Like I always say, the end result of manifesting is normally inspired action and opportunity. Not what you want falling through the ceiling into your lap while you're watching TV, but the universe or God putting the next step on the path into your brain. This led to more and more opportunity and luck. And the funny thing I found about life, the more you manifest and take action, the more luck and opportunity that you seem to have. Now, next big lucky break and opportunity from the universe. I was fortunate in that most of my clients needed to upgrade their computers and or servers to remain compliant with regulations for their businesses. Now, at first, I saw this as a lot of work and a terrible thing, and I was pretty pissy about it for a couple of months. But then, and I'll explain why, but then as I meditated on it, I realized this was a super abundant opportunity. I could actually charge for doing this work instead of doing it under contract for free like I used to under the normal monthly contract. And understand that it's industry standard for my industry to charge for these projects and resell hardware to your clients, but my self-worth and esteem issues prevented me from charging what I was worth for many, many years. But after all this manifesting work and identity shifting I'd been doing, I had ended up brainwashing myself into a state of wealth, abundance, and high self-esteem. Now I was comfortable with charging my worth in a way that's fair for everybody, because I was still charging less than my competition, but before I was doing it for free. So we're all winning here, we're all making out. Now, I've been doing these upgrades since 2023, and I still have a lot to go through this year and next year. And again, action, it's been a lot of work at times, taking every ounce of energy and strength I have and more. Sometimes I end up working 5 or 6 weekends in a row, just straight when it's needed to get them done. But I am committed to manifesting my goals. That has been the main physical driver of abundance. Having these projects, still getting new clients, because now my upgraded vibration, mindset, energy, and actions are leading to more referrals, and that has continued to drive up our regular monthly income. Being a good manager of money has allowed the money to continue to accumulate. I'm no longer wasting it on frivolous expenses. I also spent this time studying investing. That's the next step. What do wealthy people do to make money on their money? What's the best asset to invest in this economy? And how can my money always be working for me? Being secured first and then growing. Well, in answering those questions, I've been able to double the money that I made and saved over these last 18 months through smart investing. And that is what led to me crossing that $100,000 mark earlier this year. And that's when you combine both my savings and all of my investments. That's where you get that number from. And as I've continued my manifesting and taking action in reality, it continues to grow and new larger opportunities come in, both from my business and in my investing side. For example, I just added 2 new clients in the last 2 months with no marketing whatsoever. My vibration is literally now attracting wealth and abundance everywhere I turn. And what about that extra $50,000 from the thumbnail, I hear you asking? Well, that's how much my debt has come down since I started this process in 2022. I've been making extra payments when projects come through instead of spending it. And the sooner it's out of my account and invested or sent to the debt pile, the sooner I won't spend it. Now, you can do the same in your life. And I can hear some people, you don't have to have a business to increase your income. You can start wherever you are and whatever work you are doing and grow from there. As you level up your identity, your vibration, and your money game, your outer reality must follow. And look, I hear you. I grew up poor. I suffered lots of abuse in my childhood, and as an adult found out that I'm autistic, which really explained a lot about my struggles over the years and about a lot of my tendencies. But anyway, if I can do this stuff, dude, so can you. No problem. Manifesting works, but not by itself. If you only do manifesting techniques, you will not get where you want to go. You have to take action. Action is the currency of this reality. You have to model and copy other wealthy, successful people. Because think about it. Somehow they got where they started, many of them broke and poor, and they got there following a course of actions and a strategy. Well, then you can do the same thing. That was a high-level view of what I did to create this wealth. There's actually a 7-step manifesting system that I followed as well, and that really helped me to transform my life and to get everything moving for me. If you're ready to make a change, check out my Real Manifesting course down below. Then check out this video next. Much peace and love to you, my friend.